Hey guys, welcome to the Plumbers of Data Science podcast. I'm your host, Andreas Kretz, and this is another one of my Hero Talks episodes where I talk to data engineers with interesting stories. For this one, I talked with Ayan Tiwari, and Ayan is a data engineer at Toyota, so a big company. We were talking about his transition from being an undergrad in civil engineering in India to working in the US, working for Toyota. We were going through how he made the transition, how he got into the US, how he did his master's there, and interesting things that he's doing right now. If you want to comment on this, check out our Plumbers of Data Science YouTube channel, because there is the video for this, and there you can leave comments and we can have a chat. And if you feel like, hey, I have also an interesting story, you can also find on the channel in every episode a link to a Google form. Put your information there, and maybe you're the next podcast guest here. So have fun with this episode, and let's get into it. Yeah, Ayan, hi. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Andres. Thank you for inviting me. Hey guys, I am Ayan Tiwari, and I am currently a data engineer with Toyota Motors, North America. And it's nice to see you all.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Um, we want to talk about a bit today about your transition into data engineering,
Yes.
what you've worked on, how you made it. So let's just maybe give us a bit of background where you're coming from education
Okay.
wise, and let's see how this goes.
Yeah. So I my journey actually started back in 2014 when I started my undergrad, and I was actually a civil engineer by my degree back then. But throughout the years, I realized that the practices that they use are quite orthodox, and back in India, we need a lot of new technologies to like assist our orthodox practices. So I used to code a lot back then, and I started doing some POCs, started working with Python, learning a bit about machine learning to see like if that can compete with the orthodox practices we have. I got some good results, but what I did not understand was the business cases or the use cases that I was trying to focus on. So I joined Ernst and Young as a technology consultant to get a more understanding of business, and I was not more tech focused back then. So I got to learn a lot about businesses, how they run, what kind of problems really people want out there to be solved. Later, I realized, okay, if I have to solve a business problem, I need to be good technically, and I can't just directly dive into data science. I tried that head on. The data was not readily available. The sources was not there. It was more like a garbage in, garbage out thing. And so I came to the United States for my master's.
So you already before doing your masters, you already
Yes,
worked
yes,
at somewhere
for 3 years.
as a technology consultant. So how did that evolve for you? Because like, have you always been working on coding, or how did you make that switch from civil engineer to
Yeah.
starting to code? How
So
was that?
from my early childhood, like when I was around 10 years old, I have been coding, starting with Java. Python was not famous back then, so we used to do a lot of C++. We used to do Java. We used to make basic applications. But I kind of realized that I was not cut out for the back end stuff. It takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of skill and a lot of time. What I wanted to do was to not just solve the problems which were already present there, but to solve the creative future problems that might occur in the future years. And so I wanted to learn something that is going to like evolve over time. And then I came to this niche called data science. And at that time, data engineering also did not exist. So
Hmm.
everyone was like using the pre-built models, going head on, trying to predict something which was obviously not possible through technology. So after failing in predictions, I kind of realized, okay, no, I need to get good data. If I don't have good data, I can't do anything. And so I came across data engineering, and I realized if I can identify the data from the ground up, from the very beginning, I can work through the whole data pipeline through that. I can work, if I get good data, I can formulate that data, clean that data, make it readily available for myself. I can do those predictions, I can do those modelings, create models, analyze data, do it for reporting, and do all kind of things.
Hmm. That's always the case, right?
Yeah.
I find it very interesting because that is that is the case. People go into data science and then they see, okay, whoops,
Yes.
now I need the data. Without the data, without good data, I'm screwed. Now, for you, how difficult? Because you said you were
Yeah.
coding since you were very young. Now, how difficult was it for you to make that switch to the data science
Yeah.
part? Was
So
that
any
what would you give people to like? How should they do this?
Yeah, firstly, I would like to tell people that to never stop if you're trying to learn something, because the main challenge that I faced earlier was people asking me, why are you planning to change your fields? Why are you planning to change your domains? You're already doing so good with consulting. You are formulating the business cases. You're trying to understand the business. But what I really wanted to do is not just to understand the test case, but to provide a solution for that.
Mm.
So yes, I can do code, but I need to learn about how do I communicate it with people, how do I tell people like what kind of problem they have, and how can I provide a solution for that.
What would you say? How important was that first job as a consultant in that role
I feel
for
it
you?
was very important for me, and it was quite pivotal to my journey to make me realize what all is out there. Because there are a lot of times we don't know, we don't have enough resources. So back in India, there might be a lot of use cases which are still untouched, and there was not a lot of awareness back then. So getting the first job to understand, okay, like what kind of problems people are working on, not just in my domain, there were a lot of different technical teams as well. So I used to like go to them, ask them about what their experiences are, what kind of problems they are working, what kind of tools they are using to actually showcase what they're working on.
Mhm. How difficult was that to get that job? Because like I'm thinking of, or I'm
Yeah.
imagining that you're doing civil engineering, you're doing
Yes,
coding, data science. Now, how are you getting such a job? Because
I know.
people want to make that switch also with engineering, but they're struggling here. How did you do that?
I know it was a very hectic in the last 2 semesters of my undergrad, and I was completely torn apart between trying to pursue, like trying to solve the major and minor projects for my civil engineering teams, and as well as working like on evenings, on weekends. I was just like focusing on learning through videos, whatever resources I had to learn to code, and not just code, but to also create a project through the learnings to like showcase people that like I am trying to do something, and
Mhm.
that did help me in my interview back then.
Okay, so they weren't that keen on you having a degree in data science. They were
Yes.
more on, okay, is Ayan able to do these things? What kind of experience do you have?
Yes. So yeah, I kind of think that I got lucky because they were not looking for a prior degree in data science or computer science back then, and they were looking for people who are motivated to solve problems.
Oh,
Because it was more about, yeah, we can teach you the skills, but you should have that motivation from yourself to solve those problems. So I was curious. I was having that analytical mindset, and that did help me.
that's cool. It's also something that people forget about, like solving
Yes,
problems.
exactly.
We often think about, oh, this technology, this tool, this platform, this is so
Yes,
cool. We need to use this in our case, and we need to try this out. But we actually very often forget about, okay, which problems do we actually want to
exactly.
solve?
Yeah,
So that's something very important, and I like it that you went into this with this in mind. And
yeah.
a lot of people need to do this and need
Exactly. Yeah.
to
People should just
remember
like
this.
stay focused, but it's always good to explore. There might be like all other domains out there, and technology will just keep on growing. So all we have to do is keep on learning.
Yeah. What year was that?
So I got my first job back in 2018,
Okay.
and
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Because I was thinking, or I was asking myself, was it? You said you most likely got lucky, but was that because you were early,
yeah.
or was that?
I was somewhere in the mid. I guess it started in India. It started around 2015,
Mm,
2016. People switching from Java to Python and working on the data science things. And yeah, so I was somewhere there in the middle. There were some courses available. There was websites like Udemy, some YouTube videos, but it was not that interactive what it is right now.
mm, yeah. Yeah. Right now, I feel like right now the job market is very difficult.
Yeah. It
Like
is.
there's a
It's
job available on LinkedIn and 150 people apply to it. So
yeah, it's actually brutal out there right now.
it's brutal. That's true. So remind me. So then you did that job, and then you made the switch to. Then you did the masters, or was
Yeah,
that?
I
Yeah.
did my master's.
Okay. And was that then a data science masters?
It was an information management master's,
Okay.
because again I was in consulting, so I did not want to lose that business touch, because I did realize over 3 years, if I'm solving a problem, there should be a client, or there should be someone out there in the world who should be using my product,
Mm,
because if they're not using it, it's no good to them. It's no good to me as well. So I
okay.
did not want to lose my business touch, and hence I chose information management. So took courses from business, took courses from tech, upskilled myself, and that was when I realized I can't continue data science, because we don't have data engineering pipelines across most of the firms. So
Mm.
that was like, I guess, the point when I decided I want to go into data engineering.
Yeah. Okay. So when was that? A few years then? 18,
Yeah, 2021, 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
And you still saw within the consulting space that people lack the engineering.
Yeah, people knew about the businesses, they know about how to solve the business problems, but is there a technology out there which can, like, say, even just automate their jobs or the work they're trying to do? It's like as simple as that. So
Hmm.
people need to make that connection between the business and tech.
Yeah, that's true. And so then you made the switch to engineering. How difficult was that? Because people sometimes people say, "Oh, I need to learn so much, and I need to know infrastructure, and I need to
Yeah.
know computer um, networking, and so
Yeah,
on and so on."
there's
Like,
yeah.
how did you do that? How did you
Yeah,
do that?
so it was not easy. It was not over some days. It actually took me months, I would say. So through my masters over the 2 years, I did not give up. I was doing Python, I was doing SQL. Not just that, I was learning about cloud. There's AWS, there's GCP out there. There was like Docker back then. Then now DBT
Mm,
came in, Snowflake came in. Like all these things, there are like a lot of tools. But what I was really focused was to provide an end-to-end solution, and my approach is always like to look for a source to get data and how to bring this data from point A to point B.
mm.
And through that, it took me some time. It took like over 6 months or so to like just keep on learning and to keep on building small projects along the way. So yeah, the key is to just keep going.
Yeah, that's true. And also projects. Like I do this in my academy. Everything is like a small project.
Exactly.
You mentioned Snowflake, DBT, everything. The cloud platforms I have that as well, and it's always like a project.
Yes.
So, okay, so you basically step by step went into this. Were were people able to help you from? Were you still in the consulting job back then, or was that?
Oh no! So I moved to US for my masters, and I did get help considering it was 2021 and 2022. And coming here, I realized that there's more abundance of resources here than we were like made available back in
Mm,
India. Plus, we have a lot of diverse peers here who come from different backgrounds, and so people have different experiences, not just like the technical, but also the business experiences, and they were able to like guide me much better than that.
okay, okay. So you had
Yes.
somebody who was mentoring you a bit.
Yeah, I would not say just like one or two people like specifically like helping me along the journey, but it's like whenever I needed some help, some guidance, there were professors out there, there were peers out there, like I can reach out to them and I can just
Mm,
learn more about it.
okay, very nice, awesome. Okay, so now you're working on stream pipelines. I think you said you work on a
Yes.
batch.
Yes. So right now, although Toyota still is working on the batch pipelines, and we are like trying to migrate our legacy applications to Snowflake. What we are planning for the future is to be full real time. Batch data is good, but when it's about say the vehicle data and the customer data, we do need it real time. We can't wait like hours to get those data in. So
Yeah, it's always the case that people love to say, "Oh, we do everything real time. We do streaming,
yeah,
like everything is streaming." And no, you don't really need
yeah,
this.
yeah.
It's like,
Practically, it is not. We are still not there.
Yeah, but that's also something where your background in problem solving
Yes.
comes to play, right? So to
Yes.
figure out, do we really need this or not?
Exactly. That's what I do now is to think firstly, if I'm assigned a task, I do ask the question, do we really need it? Is someone consuming it? Or what are my end users?
Mm.
Because if they're not doing it, then why are we even spending time on that problem?
Mm. I think these are interesting lessons for beginners or for people in the
Yeah,
field. Just always keep this in mind, these
yeah,
thoughts.
the product based approach, start from the end and just pull it back to the front.
Yeah, because like sometimes I think sometimes keep this or don't keep this in mind. They
Yeah,
within the company they have a good idea, but it's not fully thought through until okay,
exactly,
will the product look like, or what even could the product be? I remember
exactly.
this from the times when I was working at my old company. Like there were meetings and meetings, and people were coming from different locations, and then like, okay, what actually business cases could we do? We have some ideas, but is this actually a business case or not?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. Okay, yeah. What else do we want to talk about?
So
And we have time.
firstly, I wanted to know a bit about like your journey. Like I remember you have been working for like 8 or 9 years, and then like you shifted to this the learning, like teaching people,
Yeah.
being not just like with the content, but like how do you feel like helping developing the new minds out there? Like, is this teaching thing working for you? Do you want to be like just the content part, or do you actually like helping people like learn and grow?
For me, I have two parts that I like a lot. The first part obviously is the teaching part.
Okay.
I like to um, once I know something by myself, once I have taught something myself, I like to teach it. And once I see something out there that is a lot used, then I like to show this to people so they can
Yeah.
use this and get into this awesome field of data engineering, you know?
Yes.
So that's one of the things, the teaching part. But I also the other part that people don't know that much is I also have collaborations with companies.
Oh wow.
And the interesting part is I always look if a company asks me like, Andreas, can we do something together, like a live stream or something? I look, what is the tool? What is the platform? Is this interesting? Is this something that I want to know
Yes.
more about? And
Yes.
that's also always something cool, like um, finding out, okay, you have heard this, we've seen this on LinkedIn or on
Yeah.
YouTube or on Twitter, like how is this really working, what are the upsides, the downsides, where is it problematic a bit, and having actually then somebody from the company there to interview and to find this out, that's something that I like a lot.
Yeah,
um
that's actually some fun to know about the new things that's actually out there. To like add to that, I just had like one question. Like throughout your teaching experiences, should you like suggest people to be more tool focused or to be like say more problem focused?
you already said it, to be problem focused.
Yeah.
But I mean, both has some upsides. Like
Yes.
if let's say you are going out there and you're going to be a specialist in working with Snowflake and working
Yeah.
with DBT,
Yep.
and you know it inside out and you
Okay.
know how to solve problems with it, then you're basically the opportunities that you have are very, very strong, right? Or
Yes.
very big. You People are searching for experts. It's always difficult as a beginner to get a
Yep.
job, but if people are looking for specialists, for experts, it can be really beneficial. But you need to always keep in mind the problem solving part. Just going out there and doing one tool after
Yes.
the other, and like that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. Exactly.
It doesn't really make sense. I often say don't just look at tools in one category like
Okay.
Snowflake, but also look into, okay, how do we process data? How do we ingest data from sources? Like these have a few different stages for
Okay.
the whole data engineering workflow in there. How do you schedule your workflows or your
Yes.
orchestration? That is, I think that is very important to keep in mind, but not like go off on just being
Yeah.
so tool
Exactly. Having
focused.
a plan is always a better thing to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How
Yeah.
was that for you? Like, how many tools are you working with? Like, just
So
a rough number. What
okay.
would you say? Major tools?
I would say 5 or 6 tools, but then if I switch domains internally, then again, like I work on 2 or 3 tools, different tools. So every team here is so reporting have their own thing. We have our own thing. Share experiences have their own thing. So whichever domain I go to, it's like we have to be quite quick on picking up the tools. So the basic thing should be to know about the problem and plan for the problem.
Yeah.
It's like they can just put in any tool in front of you and you have to do your job.
Yeah. How difficult is it? Like, you already have a good experience.
Yes.
How difficult is it for you to make that switch to different tools?
I feel now because I have worked on all the major tools, so it's pretty comfortable for me. But as a beginner, we are like sometimes we are very scared to like move from one tool to another because sometimes we feel okay we are good at one, and switching is always like a bit of a leap of faith kind of a thing. So it's always good to just explore, keep on exploring. It's like to not stop. But yeah, like I'm pretty comfortable moving around. So now,
Hmm. Yeah, I always felt like once I had some experience,
yeah,
I saw the same patterns in different tools.
yeah,
Where you say,
it's
where you
most
say, okay, it's different, but when you look closely, it's almost the same. It works almost
exactly.
the same, and
Yeah.
so for
It
me,
does the same thing. So if I'm like moving to a new tool, I still use the keywords or the jargons from the previous tools. It's like okay, it has to have something like this in there because
yeah,
people already make it easier for us.
yeah, yeah, and also, I mean, it makes sense also for companies to try to do it this a
Yes,
bit of the same so that it's easy for people to move to a
exactly.
different or switch technologies because ultimately they want to I'm missing the right word, they want to show people, okay, this is our tool, this is what we
Yes.
can do, please move to our to our
Yeah,
solution,
yeah,
and so
exactly. Everyone's like,
moving,
yeah, everything is doing the same thing, but they just have to showcase how they are doing it better. So
yeah. But yeah, sometimes they're really doing it better, but the general idea I think is very often the same
yeah.
in these categories. Yeah. What's like? How do you see the future in data engineering?
So
What do you see in the future?
I still feel there are a lot of organizations and firms out there who they have not moved to the modern data engineering stack. I would say because
Mhm.
here as well we are trying to migrate a lot from the legacy applications, and we are just trying to shut down the legacy applications. So it's a learning road, and it just keeps on going. But I feel once we are done with this, we can really move forward with the data science practices. We have a lot of teams here working currently parallelly with us, and a lot of reporting is done. Gen AI is coming up, so we don't know. It's like every year some new tech comes in, and like initially everyone is clueless, but now everyone wants to get their hands dirty in that. So
Yeah, that's true. But the legacy stuff, I think that's completely normal, especially
yeah,
in these huge companies.
exactly.
There's always legacy stuff, and
There
you
will always be
cannot
that.
replace this immediately. It's going very slowly, and
Exactly.
people will,
Then
yeah,
no one wants to miss out on any of the data. But I feel like data engineering has a very solid and strong foundation because it's kind of the base to all the other practices. So yeah, I just see a strong future for data engineering right now.
mm. What do you think about Gen AI? Does this help us in the future as engineers?
Uh, we currently are trying to do some POCs on some use cases, and if we are successful, we might see. So everyone thinks if something new comes up, it might be good, it might be better, but then something better comes in some years later. So
Yeah.
uh, it will help. Obviously, it's technology; it will help us, but we just have to find the perfect use case for it.
That's true. Yeah, it's like right now we're somewhere with Gen AI. We're at like the hype, and when
Yeah,
you remember the hype cycle, where
yeah,
first
I
it goes
remember.
up
Yeah,
and then it goes down
exactly.
again, and everybody's
Yeah,
disillusioned.
it came for data science, it came for data engineering, now it's Gen AI. There will
Yeah,
always be things there.
yeah, because people are saying, "Oh, this will in every aspect. It will revolutionize everything." Let's see. Let's see.
Exactly. It's like people are still doing most of the firms are still out there doing the basic normal day-to-day work. So
Yeah.
not everyone is jumping to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I see for data engineering, I don't know how you see this, but for data engineering, it's a bit problematic that because you have to be able to trust it, right?
Yes.
It's
Y-
and right now for me it's not there yet.
Yeah, it's like once because so for example here in finance processes also in even if we are trying to do automation, if it's 99.9% correct, they want it 100. If it's about numbers, they just can't
Yeah.
take a risk. So
Yeah, you can't take a risk. It's nice. It's nice for presentations. It's nice
yeah,
for proof of concepts, but for really for production use, I don't
not
know.
there.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's like we have to be absolutely sure before implementing it, and the implementation does take time as well. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. All right.
yeah.
Ian, something else, or should we?
I guess we did touch upon the points we discussed, and I'm really glad to talk to you on this.
This is awesome. Yeah, maybe before we end here, like, what would you give people that are right now they're in this process of okay, I want to make the switch. Like,
Yeah.
what would you tell them?
Firstly, yeah, because the job market is not good right now, and people might get demotivated at times. But I would just suggest people to never stop and just to keep the focus on, keep on solving problems, keep on learning, keep on growing, because they never know what like if they're working on some project, there's some firm out there which might actually be requiring that sort of skill set. So it's just about keep on learning, keep on growing. Don't get too pressurized with all the new technologies that's coming in. Just stick to the basics and keep going.
Yeah, that's very, very good. Very good advice. Oh, by the way, one
Yeah.
other thing, like how was because I get this asked sometimes from my students, like
Yes.
they are, for instance, also based in India
Okay.
and they want to move to the US and they
Okay.
basically want to do what you've done. Like how
Yeah.
difficult was this whole process of okay, now I'm in India, I'm doing undergrad and I'm working at a company to actually then move to the US and do the masters. How difficult was that?
I personally feel it was a huge cultural change for me. It's like just the whole lifestyle change for me, and not just on like a professional aspect, but on a personal aspect also. You have to grow and you have to change a lot. So if they really want to do it, if they are in it 100%, they should do it. But if they really want to just solve good problems, we have all the multinationals back in India as well. So
Hmm.
it's not like you come here and you solve problems. You can solve problems there back in grassroots as well. So it's about picking your own thing and just keep going with that.
Okay. And for like from the facilitating standpoint,
Yes.
like was this like okay, you're booking a flight and then you're you're going over?
Uh,
How did that work?
yeah,
Because
so,
I'm not from the
yeah.
US either, so I
Oh
don't know.
wow. It's actually not just that easy. You have to, I guess, you have to survey the locality. You have to do a lot of research on the colleges, on the university, the courses they provide, not just the courses, the professors which teach. So it involves a lot of research. You have to be completely in it. It's like it should be your life before even coming here.
Mhm.
So you just have to be like, you have to know everything about it.
And then, so how does that work? Do you apply to colleges then,
Yeah.
and then once you have some, once you get accepted by one, you can
Yes.
go over, or how does it?
Yeah, yeah, it's more like they have a fall intake, they have a spring intake in January. So
Uh,
you apply as per the deadlines, you like give some preliminary exams, they have some documents you need, some letter of recommendation, some SOPs you have to prepare. And once you are done with the process, you can apply. Once you get an admit, you get again all it's like more about how you join any university. You get all the academic documents, then you plan to move here. You have to look which university you are coming to, which city you are trying to live in, what's the ROI based on that. If you are in a big city, are there big
mm,
firms around? You just have to see. Sometimes you just see what companies are hiring, if those are your favorite companies, and which demographic or which area they hire for the most. So it's
yeah.
like a lot of research you have to do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. So, but generally, that
Yeah.
sounds like it's not impossible to do this,
It's not.
and
It's not.
with enough research
Yes.
and applying to universities.
Yes, it's just that you have to be motivated, and halfway down the line, you can't give up. It's like you just have to keep going.
Mm. Yeah, okay. That's I
Yeah.
think that's a nice message. Just keep going.
You
You're
just keep
going to
going.
make it.
You're going to make it. Yeah,
Believe in yourself.
exactly. It's like not if it was impossible, people wouldn't have been doing it. So
Mm,
nothing is impossible. There's nothing like what people have not already done it. So just have the motivation to keep doing.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, and that was very thought-provoking and really nice. I think a cool message. Where can people follow you on LinkedIn or?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I currently am just available on LinkedIn right now,
Okay.
or from a professional standpoint. So, still trying to learn from people like Andreas and other people out there about like how to make a presence out there, how to help the community. Because I try to respond to as many LinkedIn messages or posts I see. But
Mm,
yeah, if people have to reach out to me, they can definitely drop me
nice.
a DM.
Okay, so if you're listening this on the podcast on the YouTube podcast video, put a link in the description to your profile,
Sure. Thank
and
you.
then people can follow you.
Yeah.
Okay, Ian, thanks for being here. Thanks for this talk.
Yeah.
I
So,
wish you all the best.
so thanks a lot, Andres, for inviting me, and thanks a lot for being so patient with me.
All good.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too.